What is happening, everybody? I'm DJ LSP Vapes and welcome back to the channel. One's first product ever released, if I'm not mistaken, was the One Lambo pod device. At the time, a very small pod system that felt premium to me and really well constructed, shaped really well, and with a great choice of materials overall. Felt almost like high-end to me, but if you didn't watch that review, I will actually give you a link right here. Today is a little bit of a different device, even though going after the shape lost vape introduced with the Orion. That's right, today we take a look at the 1 gold ratio AIO type of pod device. Opening the box, inside we get the golden ratio. This is the silver and black, and here is the rainbow and black, but it's gonna be a fingerprint magnet. Inside you will also find 2 coil heads because this is an AIO type of pod device and the pod actually comes empty. Underneath we get the golden ratio user manual with instructions and the main specs. You also get a warranty card with a QR code to activate the warranty if needed, and last but not least, a rather short micro USB charging cable. The golden ratio is a pod system, more specifically an AIO type of pod system, meaning it is refillable and also uses replaceable coil heads. The black frame is definitely made out of zinc alloy, but on the silver version, the silver panels are definitely aluminum. The shape resembles the Orion and the Orion Q a lot, and that's why we actually start off comparing them both. And you can see the golden ratio is taller. Apart from the aluminum C-shaped covers, there's a little bit of resin on the side, on the black frame. The only thing holding the aluminum covers are 2 screws, and removing them shows us the LiPo battery pack used. We can also see the rather basic circuitry using to provide the usual safety features, but in my opinion, the black frame is a waste of space. The overall size of the device could be reduced, shrinking that part of the frame or making it open inside, gaining enough space to actually assemble a bigger capacity battery. At the bottom, we have a bunch of ventilation holes for the battery and 2 tiny holes on the corner for a lanyard. On the side we have one which actually lights up with either blue or red when you turn the device on. The pod is removable, of course, and it is secured in place with a spring-loaded latch, much like the Orion, Orion Q and Trinity Alpha by Smoke, but even though secured really well, still has some wobble. But the 2 really cool things about these pods are, first, the mouthpiece being skinny and very comfortable, and second, the airflow. The airflow isn't just adjustable from the side with a little wheel, but it is also enclosed inside the pod, going straight into the coils without having any opening underneath, making it so, even if you flood your coils, there won't be any liquid or condensation inside the device. Really cool indeed. The coils will be the ones making straight contact with the mod. None of these state the material the coils are made of, and as always, that's a big con. The 0.6 ohm coil head has a mesh coil inside, and it is more suited for direct lung, and the 1.2 ohm coil head, in the other hand, just a simple round wire coil inside using ceramic as wicking material and more suited for mouth lung. But one thing that annoys me a little is how hard it is to pull them out once you plug them and push them in. Also, in regards to how should you align the bottom of the coil, it doesn't really matter. They make connection either way, but I would still recommend you to align them like this to be a more direct path for the airflow. I actually think these coils should latch into a slot or be a screw-in type of coils, even though it gets a little easier once you have a liquid inside of the pod once. To fill it, you have to remove this little plug and fill it up. The hole is oval and quite wide, but may still create bubbles when you refill it, being it a single hole and not 2 like other pods. And now that the pod is full, you can actually see the left side airflow channel going all the way down to the coil head. Once you plug the pod back to the mod, press the fire button 5 times to turn it on. Fire button, which is super duper clicky and super loud. It protrudes from its recessed area where it is assembled, but is still overall flush with the C-shaped aluminum panels, and again super clicky with barely any travel whatsoever. With this fire button we have the usual 5 clicks on, 5 clicks off. You have to press it to fire the coil and vape, and when you do, the LED will tell you the battery level you have remaining. The same LED will also indicate the charging process when you plug a micro USB cable to charge it, but you can still vape while it's charging. That's it. There's no power levels or anything else. It's just a direct output device, but remember, we have some adjustability as far as airflow, and the little airflow wheel is rather stiff and it won't be adjusting on its own, and that's a good thing. That's right, that was the golden ratio by 1. Let's go back on top and vape on it. Okay. That's the golden ratio, available in silver, black, blue, gold, rose gold and rainbow, around $37 in places like Element Vape. If you don't know what golden ratio is, it is a mathematical pattern inspired by nature and art, often used in art, photography and many other things in life, and it means two quantities are in the golden ratio if their ratio is the same as the ratio of their sum to the larger of the two quantities. This is the figure that illustrates that geometric relationship. What does that have to do with this device? Well, maybe it was their inspiration or the foundation of their design. Who knows? What I do know is that I opted to review this one right after the Lyra, the last review before this one, because apart from the different size and form factor, there are actually a lot of similarities between the two and aspects where the golden ratio performs better. For starters, with both coil heads, the direct lung and the mouth-to-lung coil heads, it is a warmer vape throughout the discharge of the internal battery, even though it still drops off a little, more noticeable so with the mesh coil head, less noticeable with the mouth-to-lung coil head, so this is indeed still a direct output device. What you get is straight from the battery and what you have available at the time you take a puff. The mesh coil head, considering it is an AIO style of pod system, it's actually surprising. The flavor is great and the flavor is mildly warm, but apart from the fact that we have airflow control, it only performs its best with the airflow wide open. Don't get me wrong, adjustable airflow is awesome, that's an awesome feature on this device, but with the mesh coil head installed, if you start closing it down, you start losing flavor. Wide open, by the way, it is the same restricted direct lung airflow from the Lyra and the same as the Orion and the Orion Q wide open. The 1.2 ohm coil head though, that coil actually performs well too. Slightly colder of a vape in comparison to the mesh coil, but a lot more flavorful than the Lyra's 1.2 ohm coil head. And the other good thing about the 1.2 is the fact that it performs well no matter the airflow you pick on the side, but also closing it down very tight, you get a very respectful mouth-to-lung draw with nicotine ratios higher than 12 milligrams or 20 milligrams if you are using the salt-based e-liquids. Overall, as far as coil performance, I would say they achieved function over form. The internal battery is a 1122 mAh capacity battery. It charges averaging pretty much 1 amp and in 1 hour and 19 minutes. And again, I would like to see that charging time around 1 hour for a pod system with a battery around this size. So, I like the flavor, I like how well the coils perform, I like how the airflow is designed coming from the top and totally preventing condensation underneath the pod. The mouthpiece is thin enough for me to consider comfortable. It is an AIO, which means we can replace the coils and reuse the same pod. And I also like the little latch keeping the pod in place, much like the Orion Q and the Trinity Alpha by Smoke. I like that little latch. On the downside, I don't like the shape and how it feels in the hand. The choice of materials also makes it look and feel half premium, half cheap. It's weird to explain, but that's what I felt literally with the aluminum panels and then the frame. That's the best I can explain how I feel about this device and the choice of materials. Also, there's not enough battery indication levels, barely none to be honest, because when I see red, it's about to die. I get about 3 or 4 puffs with the mesh coil head and about 10 puffs with the mouth-to-lung coil. The charging port could be already Type-C instead of Type-B micro, and last but not least, it's not a constant output device, which means the performance will decrease along with the battery, even though almost not noticeable with the 1.2 ohm mouth-to-lung coil head. If I was to rate this one, I would give it a B-, maybe a B if it had constant output and 3 or more battery indication levels. With all that said, I'm still gonna give you the chance to score a brand new one. And to enter, you have to come over to the YouTube video if you are watching elsewhere. You have to be subscribed to the channel, like the video, your comment has to include #1, and you have to subscribe or be already subscribed to the newsletter sent every Sunday with the winners for the previous week. Alright, I'm done. Stay sexy and vape on.